The entrepreneur who gets clients isn't thinking like you. That sounds harsh, but it's actually good news because it means your business isn't stuck. Your identity is. One of the reasons you haven't got your first clients yet isn't strategy. For example, for me it was like that. I was making tons of outbound. I was reaching out for people, right? On Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Okay. Now the crazy thing is I didn't got my first clients because of any of this. It was when I stopped these things, right, that I got my first client. Okay. Now here's the thing. Many people focus on strategies, but the thing is, as long as your identity is stuck and it's wired a certain type of way, you will get the same type of results. So instead of focusing just alone on the strategies, what helped me is to, first of all, to create clarity between who I am now and who I need to be. Okay, so the first step is look at your results right now. Look at your life, right? Look at your business. You have certain type of results and be precise about that. Good or bad are not results. So they are clear numbers, right? Or something, a specific type of lifestyle that you have, right? And now ask yourself the question, who do you need to be to have these type of results? There are things that you need to believe in. A certain identity, a certain character you need to be to generate these results. Okay, so who do you need to be to generate these results, right? Now the next thing, what you do is you think about now this character deeper. So what are your current strengths and weaknesses right now, right? What do you believe also about the world? What do you believe about the world? What is your mindset, right? What do you believe about money? And now what helped me is to create clarity, to close the bridge. What do I mean by that? No, I first of all ask myself, okay, what type of results do I want in business? Being wealthy or successful is not really a result. Something like I have my first 3 paid customers that are satisfied. Okay, so first 3 paid customers. This is the result. Okay. And now, for example, for that, who do you need to be for that? Now you know your result. This is how it can look like. Just be precise about that. Okay, who do I need to be to have this result? So this character, what are his strengths? What does he believes about the world? What does he believes about money or business? Is he good in marketing? Is he bad? Does it count at all? Maybe it doesn't matter for him, right? So create clarity about both your characters, your character right now and the character that you need to be, right? It's like in a game. And now here's the thing. Okay, even if you know now the difference, like if the car has no fuel, it cannot drive. So what's missing is the fuel, right? If you want to drive from A to B, you need enough fuel to get there. So what is missing is now your why. So the next step, what you need is you need to understand your why deeper. So you ask yourself, you look at the results, how you want to live, your lifestyle, how you would live, how your life would look like in detail, how you feel about it also. You need to know how you will feel emotionally about that. Good or bad is no emotion. More like prideful or confident. Confident, successful, happy, right? Joyful. Okay? This is something like that. So, for the next step, like I said, about the why. So what you do now is you ask yourself, okay, why do I want to have this type of life, these type of results? For example, this answer comes now up, I want to be successful, right? And then ask yourself deeper. You ask yourself again, why? Why do I want to be successful? And then let's say something comes up like, I want to be free. I want to be free. And then you ask again, why? And you do this up to 7 times. So whatever comes up, you ask again, why? One layer deeper. That leads you one level deeper, right? And now you have enough fuel for the car. So now you have the clarity and you know also where you want to drive and you have also the fuel for that. But something is still missing. And this is that you don't know how to wire yourself towards this identity. This is the part that is missing. So I can reveal to you One thing that I teach to my clients is I just ask them, for example, so we make a sheet and let's say with you, choose 3 sentences what your ideal self will believe in. Like I said, one thing is you have your first 3 paid customers that are satisfied. Then another thing, ask yourself just what would your ideal self believe in? Your ideal self is the self for the next level, right? Maybe in a couple of months or 6 months and 12 months that has already the results. So what does it need to believe in to have these results, right? And what you do now, you just write them down somewhere, right? These sentences, these are like your beliefs. And what I do, for example, with my clients is I don't just tell them to visualize, because this alone is not that effective. As another exercise, what I do also personally is I look at these beliefs and I remember the last recurring confirmations. So a confirmation for this belief, something that I did to improve there. So let's say you want to have your first 3 paid clients. You probably have done some activities to come closer to your business. Okay? Maybe someone even reached out to you. What you do now when you look at these beliefs, you let it pop up at the front of your inner eye, right? You close your eyes, you sit still, right? In a calm way. You just relax. And then you just imagine the last evidence of the latest days, right? That reinforces this belief. And you let it pop up in front of your inner eye. And what you do now is you project this feeling into the future. What do I mean with that? What I mean is you now imagine after you feel this feeling, okay, of reinforcing this belief, you now imagine the next milestone. So you imagine how you have success with the next milestone. Let's say the next milestone is a client is interested and wants to buy your offer. And now you imagine that. So the next milestones, the next weeks, or maybe the next weeks or the next month, not that far away, okay, or this week. You imagine that you feel that fully. You allow yourself to feel that fully. The feeling is the most important part. And you do this exercise before you go to bed. Why? Because your subconscious is the most open before you go to bed, right? Then you're in the right state. And this is one of the exercises that I recommend my clients. Another thing what you can do is in the morning, the first thing in the morning, what you do is you now imagine your ideal day and you focus on the characteristics that your ideal character has. So your future, your ideal self, when you have this transformation, right? And you just focus on this character. You just go in your mind through your ideal day and feel it fully, focus fully with clarity on these characteristics, right? That your character has. And the only thing is now that is missing is to take action, but not any action, aligned action. What's the difference? The difference, a lot of people, they just take action, but not from the ideal state. And to do this from the ideal state, what you do now is before you take an action, let's say before you want to reach out or do something, you visualize how you have success with the next milestone. Okay, so you not just reach out. Let's say you reach out and people reply back in a happy way, right? Like they are interested. Okay, so they're interested. Or maybe you have your first result. So you just imagine the next little milestone. Okay, so before you take action, you always first tap into the right state and then you make these actions in the right state. And this is when things start to change for you, because before you were just taking action, but from your old self. Now you take action from your ideal self. That's a huge difference. Okay? Now, if you are interested to go even deeper and transform your business, have your first money, your first clients, right? Then you can click on the link below, and there you can join a free discovery call with which we can find out whether you are the right fit and where I can help you. And comment below what helped you the most in this video, right? What was the most helpful? And see ya. Bye bye.